I started off as really getting into rock and roll by listening to like Eddie Van Halen and anyone that was on the radio, Metallica, Megadeth, kind of like the heavier side of things. And then over time, I decided to go into classical music. Yes. As it turns out, there's actually some remarkable similarities between classical music and metal. I'm sure some of you have probably dived into metal, especially if you get into like Yngwie Malmsteen or Jason Becker or any of these kind of neoclassical players. They actually have a lot of similarities. And I got into classical for a while, and then I decided I wanted to make some money, and that sent me back into commercial music. So I started doing that again, and through that I got into jazz, and through that I started doing work on cruise ships. I did that for about 3 years, and then I discovered that there was an opportunity with the United States Navy to perform all around the world, and the possibility to actually have a stable job and an exciting career and do what I love, playing music, and at the same time I could pursue everything I wanted to do, and it was a really magical experience. And that's my story. I was asked to give a little bit of advice if I were going to give advice to myself at a younger age. The thing I would advise myself to do is try and get as much mentorship as you can from people that know the job, people that know the career, and that can really put you on the right path and really steer your ship in the right direction. That being said, thank you very much. And that being said, I'm going to pass on to Emily.
All right, I'm musician second class Emily Kershaw. I'm kind of a little bit of a rare breed. I grew up playing trumpet and did that all through high school and into college. I did sing, but I did more singing classically and Broadway, and I never sang with a band like this until I joined the Navy. So they have taught me a lot. And I've been in 4 bands so far. But the biggest thing growing up is I took lessons for everything. I was always trying to get better, and that's kind of the biggest thing. I know it's some of the most frustrating things to do the same thing over and over, but if you can do it over and over with no mistakes, you can do it over and over forever. And that's one of the things that I still struggle with today, even doing the job, is making sure that I do the things over and over so that there'll never be a mistake, there'll never be anything to worry about. It's one of those things that we just don't like to do. But I've been in the Navy for about 10 years, and it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I was first stationed in Japan, and so I got to tour all over Asia. I've only been in Italy for 2 months, so this is my first time outside of Italy with this job, and I have to say, Finland puts everything pretty high up. Everything here has been quite amazing, and I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for having us. You have a microphone yet?
Hey everyone, I'm musician third class Elise Mary. I'm sure you saw me singing, playing keys, and violin. I kind of agree with Emily where I tried a little bit of everything. But I also too started classical and didn't think I would go into jazz and rock and roll. And what kind of got me in that start of rock and roll after I pursued a degree in piano performance, so classical, and then a master's in piano pedagogy and performance. Pedagogy is teaching, so if you're interested in being an educator, you can do a music ed background or specify in your instrument, which is pedagogy. And so part of what I love to do is not just play, but teach as well and pass that knowledge on to others. So after school, a good way to make money was not classical, but it gave me a really great facility at the instrument, I should say. I love classical for myself, and I think everyone should pursue a little bit of that in their background, but it really helped me dig into the popular music realm a lot easier. I, for almost 4 years, worked at a dueling piano bar. So that's why I'm experienced singing and playing, so it's typical throw requests and hey, can you do this song? And it's a fun environment. And when I heard about the Navy, I just thought, okay, this is a similar opportunity, but I can kind of do some of the classical that I miss I get to do jazz. I have just such a variety that I couldn't do at that prior job. And I guess a little bit of advice. This is tough because don't give up on yourself, because it can be just as much as there's criticism coming from yourself and from your teachers, it can be hard to keep going as a musician or an artist, right? But you need to find that confidence in yourself to know that you've got this. And that's a daily, weekly, yearly, whole life journey to work on. But if you know in your heart that you've put the work in, that constant practice that we don't like, but even then, sometimes faking it till you make it, or the combination of the two really sells it, because they know it's genuine, because you feel it and they feel it too in the audience. So yeah, on to...
It's my turn now.
It's your turn, all right.
I'm MU2, Jose Figueroa. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, but now I live in Florida, actually. I was last minute called to join the band, and for me this has been great when they told me you're gonna go to Italy for 1 week to rehearse, and then 1 week to Finland to play. That was like, yes, sign me on, I'm gonna do that. So I've been in the Navy for around almost 9 years now. Before the Navy, I played on cruise ship, like my shipmate. And one day I was on Facebook looking for other job opportunities. And I saw a flyer from the Navy that said, we need bass players. And it's like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. So I auditioned, I joined. They stationed me in 7th Fleet, which is in Japan. That was also when I traveled around Asia, like MU2 Kershaw here. And after that, I've been stationed in United States in different bands. So my advice for all the musicians is to try to learn as much as possible about music. We are musicians. We play an instrument and we love our instrument. But if you can also learn the theory, learn arranging, learn composing, even sound engineering, all of that is part of being a musician. It's part of the business. So be prepared. The more you know, the more style of music you can play, the better. I have this job because basically that's one of the requirements in the Navy. We need to play rock or Latin or jazz, etc. And throughout the years, I have learned a little bit about all of that. And that's what I have this job today. I think there's opportunities there in music. Opportunities to make a living. It's up to us to learn as much as possible and be ready.
Good evening. This is, well, for me, I don't really have much of a story, but first of all, I am musician 3rd class Michael Wallace. I am the drummer for the U.S. Naval Forces Europe Africa Band for Flagship. My story starts in Chicago, Illinois. And for me, I started out playing drums at the age of 3. I was banging on pots and pans, just like most of every other drummer that's out there. I just kind of made up my own sort of drum set, and my grandparents and my mother just saw all that, and they said, hey, let's give him a drum kit. So I tore up through the first drum set that I had. Right after seeing my future private instructor play at my church, and that's basically how it started. I started playing in churches, and I was taught by him for a few years, and eventually I got my own sort of drum set, got my own sticks, and everything, just kind of coasted on throughout my childhood. And I was, like a sponge, as a young 10-year-old kid. I would go into every genre that I wanted to do, like jazz, rock, funk, gospel, hip hop, just so many things. And when I get into college, I didn't really do much classical, but I was classically trained in university, and I did 5 years undergrad, got my bachelor's in Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, playing a bunch of instruments like timpani, marimba, vibraphones, just so many things that they train me to do, and they do it very well. So after college, I became like sort of a freelancer for 1 year, and then all of a sudden everything shut down because of COVID. And that kind of put a damper to things and just kind of put me in a crossroads. So eventually I was asking everybody. I asked my private instructor who referred me to his former student who was in the United States Navy, actually in the music program for a while. And he referred me to another colleague that was here, and he's still in the music program to this day. And that's how I got into this program now, and I was blessed enough to, what am I trying to say? So I was blessed enough to actually work with him for a couple years. So my advice would be just, I'm one of the youngest members of the band, fleet-wise. I've hit 3 years in August, so technically it's just 3.5, like 3.25 of a year. So my advice would be to be humble, because as a young player, you're gonna find yourself making a ton of mistakes, and you're also gonna find somebody that's, better than you at whatever you're gonna be playing. It could be a drum set, it could be something else, like, I don't know. Just remain humble, just be flexible, and just learn from others, and just take as much as you can when it comes to mentorship. And just don't get a big head, because nobody's gonna work with you if you have such a big head and thinking that you're above everybody. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.